Greetings everyone, it's me Jim again, and today's video finds us on a busy spring day. It's been quite a spring, probably like you've experienced also. We've had incredibly warm temperatures and quite a lack of moisture. We haven't had much rain yet this spring, and so we've had a lot of days when we've been able to work outside. So that's been wonderful, although we're kind of getting to the point in time where we'd really like to have some rain pretty soon. We've had a lot of heat, but we haven't had much precipitation, and so our pastures and stuff would normally be quite a bit taller after this much sunshine and warm weather, but things are kind of off to a slow start, and we're going to need some rain here sometime in the next month to get our topsoil wet down in order to get our crops started. So there is quite a bit of field work started in our area. Guys are doing things like disking corn stalks, applying some fertilizer, and there's a few guys that have already planted some alfalfa. I think in another 10 days or so, there'll be a lot of guys probably really itching to start planting corn, especially if the weather stays this warm. So it's been a good go. One of the many things that we've got to do this time of year is to make sure all our equipment is ready to go to the field. So today we're kind of finishing up the last couple tractors that we have to work on. Things that we have to do to our tractors are a lot the same as what you do to your car when you take it to the garage to get it serviced. We usually have to change the oil about every 150 hours of use, and then we clean the air filters, we change the oil, the hydraulic filters, the water filters, and then when we get everything done and get all the fluids topped off and check the tires and grease them up, then we'll take them and wash them and wax them, and they'll be looking sharp and ready to go to the field. So this is our last big tractor that we have to do today. The guys are working on that while I'm clowning around doing this video, and hopefully we'll get this done and she'll be ready to go. So I'll show you some of the equipment that we're getting working on too. One of the things we do with all our big tractors in the spring too before we go to the field is we put duals on them. We add extra tires on the tractors on the outsides so that they don't pack the ground as much, and it gives them a little extra traction if we're pulling some heavier equipment. But it's just something that we routinely have to do in the spring and the fall to avoid compacting the soil, because we don't want to pack that soil down too much, and then we won't have quite as good of an environment for the roots and the plants to grow into. As you can see, we were working on our sprayer yesterday, and as you can see by the puddles on the ground, I ran quite a bit of water through it, checking to make sure all our nozzles and stuff are working appropriately. Our sprayer is 90 feet wide, so there's about 55 of these little nozzles that spray the water and the chemicals onto the ground. And so the sprayer is a tool that we use a lot, of course, because the number one competitor and the number one thing that costs us yield is weeds. We don't want weeds growing in our fields because they're going to consume the nutrients and the water that could just as well be used to grow food. So we don't want any weeds in our fields to compete with the crops. So typically we'll maybe make 2 or 3 trips across every field with this machine to apply the products that we need to control our weeds. Across from the sprayer over here, the guys have the soil finisher out, and again, the tractor's dualed up and ready to go. It just needs a wash and a wax. And then the soil finisher, we've gone through that here this morning, and that's a tool that we use to go out and level the ground off, fluff it up a little bit, and then smooth it off so that we have a nice, even, flat field that makes a much nicer seed bed to plant corn or alfalfa or what have you. So probably by the end of the week here, we'll be planting alfalfa, and then we'll be kind of sitting on our hands and chomping at the bit to think about planting corn. But our crop insurance will not allow us to plant corn before the 15th of April because there'd be too much risk that it could freeze in a late frost. And so we'll have to sit idle till about the 15th. But again, like I say, if we get to the 15th and the weather is like this, we'll be running wide open and pretty excited to get going. So that's kind of what we've been working on the equipment side of things, and now we'll talk a little bit more about the livestock. I'm just going to take a minute to show you our 4-H babies that we looked at in our last video. I know last time we got together these guys, I could hold them in one hand for our video, and we talked about some of the things that we do with the baby pigs after they're born. So I'm just going to show you what they're looking like today. We took them away from the mothers. We weaned them about 2.5 weeks ago, And as you can see, they're off to a great start, and they are moving right along. I would guess a lot of these guys are probably weighing 30 pounds and maybe even a little better already, and doing very well. So they're already on ground feed, and in another probably 3 weeks, they'll be ready to move on to nurseries already. We've already been getting some calls from some customers that are looking forward to coming down and getting a look at these guys, and so maybe some of them will be getting showed at a county fair close to you at some point in time. So we shall see. So besides preparing to get our field work done, we've got all our usual tasks to do here as far as our livestock production. We've delivered some breeding females to states like Minnesota and Iowa and Nebraska here in the last couple weeks, and of course, we'll have another batch of pigs coming in 2 weeks behind these guys, so we'll have to get a couple of nurseries washed up and prepared and ready for more babies. And also, we're just getting started on calving our beef cows, so it's going to be real hectic here for the next 6 or 8 weeks, calving our cows and doing our field work and whatnot. But luckily, it's a great time of year to work outside, and the days are getting long, so we've got lots of daylight, and that allows us to work outside pretty late into the evening. So hopefully Mother Nature cooperates and everything else goes smoothly. Next time we visit, hopefully we can show you some field work and a bunch of baby calves. So till next time, we'll see you then. Thanks.